Well, hello everybody. So Haajar, we are here with your brother, and we're going to go through a lesson. We're going to jump into some reading because, there are 47 literary terms, and let's learn like two or three of them using the story here. So this is a fictional story for ninth graders and 10th graders. And so your brother has picked this pleasant story. And so you're going to just kind of watch this. And I just went to Chat GPT and I said, hey, look, um, could you give me three or four literary terms from our list of 47 that can help us to learn their terms and apply them? Because that's really how we know that we know them, is it helps our reading. And so we can have rich discussion when we're in our classes. And so, Solomon, do you have the passage? And actually, even if you don't have the passage open, we're going to read it together on my screen. So the only time you really need to have your screen is when you're answering questions. So that way I can see how you answered. Um, and so what I love about this type of strategy here is that when my students answer the questions and they explain how they got their answers, it allows me to get into their brain and allows me to go in there and perform surgery, if you will, right? Saying, oh, you were thinking that, and let me help you think of this a different way, right? Or or maybe I'll learn something from one of you that I never thought of before, right? That happens at times too. Um, okay, so I have a question for Solomon. What's the first thing that you do when you read? Now, what we have here, we've got a passage, got pictures or a picture. We've got a title. We've got vocabulary, a vocabulary activity. Um, we have a question set. And how many questions do we have? We have about
10, I'd say.
10 questions. 10 questions. My question to you is, what do we do first?
Read the title.
Title? Okay. Maya and her hula school. All right, then what?
Look at the picture.
Yeah, and so what do we see here? Let's just talk about this. I see looks like some ladies or some looks like they might be teenagers or in their 20s, but they're performing
Hmm.
and there are some people on the steps. So I don't know if it's a ceremony, but it seems like they are perhaps at a festival. I don't see any hula. Oh, wait a minute, hula. So I don't even know what hula means. I thought they're going to have hula hoops or something, but I could be wrong.
Hula's probably
So what do
the
you notice? And what's that?
Hula's probably the dancing that they're doing.
The type of dancing. It's probably what they're doing. And it seems like this may be a performing arts school. So the first question I have in my mind is like, what about this school? I'm kind of curious, right? Um, okay, so now here is another question. What do we do next? Read the title, looked at the picture, no caption. Do you read or do you do something else?
I'd say we read now.
Okay. What I'm going to suggest, this is not a trick. This is not about gotcha. I gotcha. You made a mistake. No, but I was curious what my students know, right? Your reading habits. We don't want to just read. What we want to do is we want to look at the vocabulary. Because remember, for school to be interesting for us, we need to make connections, right? That takes work. So I'm going to create Velcro in my mind. So I've already created a little bit of Velcro, which means it's almost like a magnet, right? Velcro. You put enough Velcro, and then you read your passage here. This is your prior knowledge. These are your questions right up here. And this is the passage. We want those two to grab each other so that when you read it one time, you get a lot out of it. It's not just, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what I read. I can't remember it. Right? Doesn't that make sense? Like it needs to mean something to us. So it's called setting a purpose. That's what we call it in English class. So the first thing I would do actually, and you were actually really, I think you did well. Um, Not bad, right? Title, picture, not, don't read just yet. I would have looked for headings. I would have looked for other pictures. And lo and behold, there's no headings. So that's done. This whole process here should take like less than a minute. Just get a basic idea real fast. Okay. We're not taking a lot of time to do it. Question set. So let's look at that. That would be my next thing. Now, when you do the question set, again, you're creating a reason to read. The best preparation for reading is to have questions looking for answers. According to the text, what is the role of a kumuhula? Okay, we don't care about these answer choices because that's going to take a lot of time and we're going to be mentally exhausted by the time we start. We don't want to do that to ourselves. Two, what does the author describe in the story? Okay, fine. Number three, students at Maya's Heilau, Heilau must be disciplined. What evidence from the text best supports the statement? Okay, that what I'm thinking to myself, discipline, right? Read these sentences from the text. Oh my gosh, this is a very long question. So, do I care about this? Reading all that? No, I'm not going to waste my time doing that. I'm going to jump down here. I'm going to jump down to this because that's really what the question's asking here. Based on this information, what kind of experience might Maya have gone through in graduating from Halal? Weird. Okay. I thought it was going to pronounce the word for us, but okay. What is the story mostly about? Okay. Sounds like main idea question. Read these sentences from the text. I'm not going to read them, but I'm going to read the question. As used in these sentences, what does the word partake most nearly mean? This type of question here doesn't necessarily depend upon the passage itself. I'm guessing we could even answer this question now if we wanted to. But again, I don't want to mentally exhaust myself. Choose the answer that best completes the sentence below. Blank the graduating day. Students at the halau halau. I think I guess that's helau. Take part in a ceremony bathing ritual in the ocean. Okay. I don't know, but yeah, it's one of these four words. So seems like an easy enough question. I'll come back to that one. According to the text, what is the kapu at Maya's halau? Right. So that's gonna be a short answer. What is the kapu at Maya's halau? Okay. So that's the word I'm gonna remember. Kapu. Um, all right. And then 10, why do students at Maya's halau traditionally have to follow certain rules? Use evidence from the text to support your answer. So, all right, let's go ahead and read. And can you hear that okay?
No, I can't hear anything.
Okay. Thank you for letting me know. What I'm going to do is I have to optimize for sound. So I got to press the button here. Forgot to do that. Okay, here we go. All right. So Solomon, what you want to do is you want to read with your eyes. Um, reading, okay. I'm going to give you a little secret here. We need to be visual, and most of us are visual. So we need to use that in our reading. And so when we see words appearing, and if we can visualize what we're reading, it's going to do us really well. Okay, so let's go ahead and
Maya
start.
and her hula school. Farid works. As the bright sun began to stream through her window, Maya lazily rubbed her eyes and wondered what day it was. She had been in a deep, deep sleep, dreaming about swimming in a vast pool of chocolate ice cream. She licked her lips, remembering what bliss it had been to have a constant supply of her favorite dessert. All of a sudden, she realized it was Monday, and she was late for dance practice. She whipped out of bed, hastily pulled on a long, white dress, and rushed out the door. 5 minutes later, she found the rest of her class sitting underneath a cluster of palm trees in the backyard of her halau, a school that teaches hula dance, the traditional dance form of Hawaii. Her kumu hula, or hula teacher, stood impatiently in front of the sitting students who were all fanning themselves in the humid, Hawaiian heat. The kumu hula was a huge proponent of punctuality. It was just one of her many rules, all of which formed the kapu, a set of regulations that all her students must obey. Traditionally, in hula schools, the obedience of such rules would mean that dancers would receive blessings from the gods that could increase their talent in performing the hula. Maya's kumu hula also had high standards of personal cleanliness and restricted the eating of most sugar. This was the hardest rule for Maya to follow. She thought back to her dream of ice cream while she quietly sat among the other students, hoping that kumu hula wouldn't punish her for being late. All right, well, now that we're all here. The kumu hula started, while giving Maya a knowing look. Tomorrow we start our preparations for the graduation ceremony. The girls and boys looked at one another in excitement. They had been training for months in order to graduate and become professional hula dancers. They would start off as dancers called olapa, meaning agile ones. When they had danced long enough and gained enough experience, they could become a part of the hupa. The hupa typically sit on the ground, chant, and play instruments while the olapa dance. Students can be both olapa and hupa at the same time. That means that you all must stay in the halau unless you have a very good reason to leave. We'll only practice once a day in order to give your bodies rest, the kumu hula told her students. Maya and her friends all let out a sigh of relief. They had been practicing more than usual in order to prepare for their big graduation performance. After the kumu hula finished explaining the schedule for the next week, the girls and boys got up to eat breakfast. They walked to the kitchen where fresh fruits were already scattered across the table. Maya picked up a mango and a knife and began to cut. As she passed around dripping mango slices to her friends, they shared their excitement for graduation. They couldn't wait to share the celebration with their friends. A week passed, and it was finally the night before graduation. The graduating students still had a lot to prepare. Both the girls and boys prepared lei to wear around their heads. They each made lei for themselves out of native plants found near their halau. They got their coupe ready. Coupe are bracelets and anklets made of whale teeth and bone that make a light percussion sound as they moved. The graduating girls and boys also needed to prepare the skirts they would wear. These skirts, or pa'u, were made out of stripped bark from a hibiscus tree, but the girls' skirts were painted with beautiful designs. After they finished preparing, the entire group walked to the beach nearby for the final activity of the evening. They entered the water as a ceremonial bathing ritual. The water is meant to purify you before your performance tomorrow, the kumu hula told them as she walked into the white waves, too. When they returned to the halau, the kumu hula sprinkled each of their faces with holy water. Their kumu hula took pride in maintaining the traditional rituals her kumu hula had passed on to her. She wanted to preserve the art of hula through the passing generations. She hoped that some of her students would continue the traditions by becoming kumu hula someday. The next day Mai couldn't believe that graduation day had finally arrived. She and the other graduating students gathered for a very important feast. The kumu hula explained the purpose of the feast. Now, we partake in the alo feast that marks the end of your training. After this meal, you will officially be hula dancers, she said as a pig, which is a traditional part of the feast, was brought to the large table. Maya looked around the table at all her friends' smiling faces. She was so relieved she had made it so far in her training, but she was nervous to start her career as a professional hula dancer as well. Once the students finished the meal, they went to prepare for the performance and donned their traditional hula clothing and accessories. They lined up, ready to perform for an audience for the first time ever. Maya looked out into the audience and could see the smiling faces of her mom, dad, and little brother. She felt the soft grass between her toes, and thanked the gods for letting them be there to see her dance. The music began, and she stepped out, finally, as a hula dancer.
So it seems like for me, and I'm going to ask you to share your thoughts. Um, what, I should have had us make a prediction about this, but I think I came to appreciate that the hula dancing was more of a sacred ritual, and that the Kumahulu, right, her boss, I mean her dance instructor, had high standards for them. It was a kind of like a way of life, and it was not just a an activity for her. It actually means something in her culture, and so that's why I think when they graduate, these performers are putting on an important show. Um, what are your thoughts? What stuck out to you?
What do you
What do
mean?
you mean? What was that?
I mean,
I mean, like,
I don't know what you
know what you
mean.
mean. Yeah, I mean, so we read the story, we listened to it. So, was any part of it memorable for you, or did any of it seem interesting to you? Like, what did you learn, basically?
I mean,
I
I
mean,
learned
I
that.
learned that
I guess it's a Hawaiian
Hawaiian
religion or
religion or
tradition
tradition
where they learn to become
learned to.
dance. But
Yeah, it's a Hawaiian tradition that they learn to become dancers, right?
yeah,
Okay. And I thought about this. I don't think we need to spend a lot of time on the questions. Um, because what I think is important instead is I think we're not going to see. I'm not trying to help you guys a lot with reading, right? Isn't that kind of our focus? Isn't writing the main focus? It is, right?
yeah.
So I think we'd be wasting some time. It wouldn't hurt, but we have limited time, right? So what I'm going to do instead, we're going to do a little bit of writing here, and I don't even know exactly how we're going to do this, which is my favorite way to actually tutor because it really is based upon what's um, the excitement of learning something new. And I have so many strategies that like I can just pull them out of my mind for us to use. So I'm going to go over here and add this to our Google Classroom. And let's do a just create material. Okay, we're going to set this up for both of you guys and myself as a sample student. And there you go. Oh, wow. Okay, I don't need to do quite that much. Okay. Yeah, we're going to put this in a document. Okay, now we're going to label this. Yep. Right there it is. And here's the thing. We're not necessarily going to finish this because I'm going to be doing some preparation for our tutoring so that it's structured and you kind of know what we're doing ahead of time. I know it seems a little scattered and chaotic, but I'm not trying to land on anything. I'm just trying different things with you. So let's see. I'm going to call this Maya and her hula school. Go right there. There we go. There we go. Okay, literary focus is attached. Okay, now when we drop down here, so what I'm going to come up with now is a short informal writing assignment. We need a short informal writing lesson that lasts 10 to 15 minutes. So they can. All right, let's see what it comes up with. So what I would do in the meantime is grab your notebook and in case you're going to use it to jot down any ideas. And we'll also have a document that you can write on as well. Okay. We're going to make one power paragraph here. So we have a hook and a setup here. Let's just copy and paste this. Okay. Okay. See that. Create. Yeah, we can do an assignment. Material is better. Okay, shared mini lesson writing doc. Okay, and it'll probably end up being a lesson for our office hour. I didn't realize how close we are to being ended. That's just really crazy.
Wait,
Really crazy. Um,
wait, can I say something?
yeah, for sure.
So remember the book I told you I was doing called Brave New World?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're gonna write that. Oh, what day is it today? Wednesday, right?
Mhm.
So we're either gonna write it next Wednesday today or next Friday. Not next Friday, next week's Friday.
Yeah. And do you can you share your screen? Do you know what that prompt is for that writing assignment?
It's he doesn't tell us the prompt. It's like what's it called? Like kind of impromptu, I think. Like we just go in, he gives us the prompt then, and then we write the essay.
Yeah. Do you have any idea what kind of essay it might be?
No.
Okay.
There
Here's
was
what I
this
would do. Yeah, I'm listening.
there was this book, Lord of the Flies, um, that we did. You know that book?
Yeah. I've heard of it. I don't think I've ever read it.
And the essay we had to write on that book was I don't even remember actually. Let me check if I can show you. see. Yeah, I can't find it. He didn't he didn't post the like what he does is he posts like maybe 20 prompts and then one of
Yeah.
he will choose three of them on the essay day.
Okay, so here's what I would do. I know there's different like shortcut formats. I want us to look up RACE, and I'm going to show you what that is because if it is a it RACE will apply to a lot of different essays, and I'm going to show you what that is. So let's go back to my class. Off the top of my head, I don't know if I've added it into my Google Drive, but I'll take a look. Um, and I think that'll help you because it'll give you a handle on what you're doing. It'll give you a game plan because it has a certain format. RACE. Okay, I think let me dig it up because I think I actually might have emailed it to myself. So give me a second. And if not, that's fine. I can tell you what RACE is pretty much pretty quickly. Um, it's just that I have a nice sheet that teaches it. So let me take a look here. Let me check my email. Okay. I'm looking one more place here. Um,
Give me the massage gun. There should be another. Give me the massage gun.
Kern.org. Let's see.
Give me the massage gun. Give me stupid children.
Let's try this inbox. Kern.org. Visual subbing, right brain. Okay. All right. No worries. So let's just pull it up on this. Oh, I might actually have it in Chat GPT, so that might even be better. So LPAC, fishing, tutoring, video, vocabulary, niche, t- tutoring, text conversation, conversion request, Calendly chat, MTSS, Aludo. Okay, fine. Um, okay, writing strategy for it. So are you talking about Lord of the Rings or are you talking about Brave New World?
It's called Lord of the Flies,
Lord of the
but
Flies, that's
yeah,
right.
it's not about
That's
Brave
right.
New.
Sorry, I
Yeah.
just watched that movie last Sunday. Okay, Lord of the Flies. For my 10th grade honors student who teacher will give him any number of random prompts. Okay. Give me clear examples of each and one or two sentences for each. And then at the end, bring all the sentences together into. All right. So is he asking for 5 paragraph, 4 paragraph, 3 paragraph, 1 paragraph?
I think ideally three, an introduction, evidence, and then conclusion.
No problem.
Just go. I don't know where it is. I don't know.
So look, your success, Solomon, is in the setup. What do I mean by that?
The way
Say
I
that with me. My success is in the setup.
My success is in the setup.
Okay, so what that means, let's pick that apart. By you knowing what the rules are for cross country, you can do cross country, right? Okay. Remember the templates I told you about? This is exactly why you wanted to print that up. You don't have ink, so you couldn't print it up, but you have it in the Google Drive, in your Google Classroom, right? That will tell you what goes in your first paragraph. You need a hook to hook your reader. You need a background sentence or two, then your thesis, then your main body paragraph, then your conclusion paragraph. What goes in the main body paragraph will be in that template. If you follow that, um, you're going to do well. Now, I'm going to show you race, and maybe it's a waste of time. I don't know. Let's see. Race is helpful
Wait,
because if he gives you a prompt,
what do you mean by race?
yeah, I'm glad you asked. It's actually an acronym, and R stands for restate the question. A stands for answer the question. C stands for cite text evidence. And then um, E stands for explain what it all means. I'm not sharing my screen. Let me go ahead and share. We're going to have to like end here in a minute. Um, Today's Wednesday, right?
Yes.
I can't meet with you guys on Saturday, but are you guys available on Thursday at this? Let's see. Am I available at the same time though? Because I don't want to shortchange you guys on that. Let's take a look here. Yeah, Saturday I'm going out of town. I'll be in San Francisco, and I'm going to be at some events. So I think that I'll message your sister and see if you guys are available tomorrow, and then we can
Wait,
spend more time with Lord of the Flies and your and preparing for the possible essays that he's going to send your way.
also,
Um,
you know,
but I hope that I'm sharing. I'm going to let you go in a second, but here, watch what it gave you on the screen. So here's a sample question for Lord of the Flies. How does Jack use fear to gain power on the island, right? So if you look at RACE, what you do is just basically answer it, and this becomes a paragraph, right? In Lord of the Flies, Jack gains power by manufacturing and exploiting fear among the boys. Okay. Um, Answer. He exaggerates the beast and promises protection, turning fear into loyalty to his tribe. C. Now, what we mean by cite, of course, is to give evidence from the text, right? For example, after a tense assembly, Jack mocks Ralph's caution and insists the beast is real, so the boys must hunt and kill it around chapter 8, and many follow him to the new camp. Okay, so now you've provided the evidence, and now you're explaining what it all means. Like, why do we care, right? By naming an enemy and offering violent order, Jack channels panic into obedience. Fear becomes his fastest tool for control and the group's descent into savagery. And then you can see here, you have an intro and the body right here, and then the conclusion. You see how we did that?
mhm.
So again, your
Wait,
success. Yeah, go ahead. I'm
I don't
listening.
get how this, wait, how is this gonna help with the essay?
Well, because it'll ensure that it's organized and it's fully developed. So if you restate the prompt, start with the topic and claim and a clear claim, and you answer the question in the next sentence or two, right? And
Hmm.
then you put your evidence next, and then you explain what it all means finally. That's going to give you a good paragraph, right? It's going to give you a fully developed paragraph.
Hmm. Oh, so I
See what I'm
use
saying?
for each prior paragraph?
Well, no. This just gives you it answers the main question. But once you put that paragraph together, like all these sentences here that we just read, right? All those, just remove this part, explain, cite, answer, and put all these sentences together into one paragraph. Then all you need to add is an introduction here and a conclusion here.
Wait, can I use this to write like the introductory, like the introduction to the essay?
No, what you want to do for that is once you've written your main body paragraph or you know what you want to say, because you're going to probably have a thesis, right? By
Yeah.
answering this question, you're going to come up with the thesis by, you see, these four sentences. So, what
Mm.
you're going to actually do is, let's see, let's find the essay template. And then I'm going to show you what goes into that introduction. Okay. So, right here, you have an argumentative essay, you have an expository essay right here. Okay. Look what goes first. You have a hook, an interesting fact or question. Then you give the reader some background. Lord of the Flies is a story about, such and such and such and such, right? It takes place in the year or whatever. And in it, there are a bunch of characters, doing something, right? Then you end up with your thesis statement there, and that's your introductory paragraph. And then if you notice this, the topic sentence of your first paragraph of your in this main body paragraph,
Hmm.
that you take from the RACE, which we just went over here, right? So
Wait, can you go back to that one first real quick? The essay
yeah,
template?
yeah, I'll get back there.
Oh, okay.
See that? See how, I mean, it doesn't line up perfectly, but I'm telling you right now, if you do RACE, if there's a direct question, it's a quick way to develop your paragraph. And then all you have to do is look at your paragraph and say, what am I trying to say here? That's my thesis. Now I can come up with the hook, right? I can say something like, um, in today's presidential elections, it seems like we're repeating the Lord of the Flies, right?
Yeah.
Or you see what I'm saying? You got to
Yeah.
say something that's kind of startling for your reader, or ask them a question. It's best to ask a question, but I'm going to tell you something right now. When you write your paper,
Hmm.
it may be difficult in the setting that you're in because it's like you have to just write it and be done, right? You have to write it and move on. But typically, when you learn to budget your time, you're going to write a quick hook. You're going to write a quick background sentence or two. Then
Yeah.
you're going to write a quick thesis. Then you're going to write that body paragraph. And guess what? When you write that conclusion, see, by the time you've reached your conclusion, your introduction's going to change. Your thesis is going to be a little bit more fine tuned because as you were writing, you were actually beginning to think about it. See what I'm saying? All good writing is rewriting. You'll never make a good paragraph or essay just doing it once and perfecting that first sentence and perfecting the second sentence and perfecting the next paragraph. It doesn't work that way.
Mhm.
It's recursive. You learn as you write. And as you learn new things, you fix the different parts of the essay. You say, you know what? This thesis that I wrote is doesn't fit what I wrote. It's not as good as what I wrote. I like what I wrote. So let's refine the thesis. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's how I've done it. And because I budget my time when I write, and I've had teachers say to me, "This is the best paper." Like, how did you do this? This was
Like when you
amazing,
were in
right?
school?
So
Was like that was when you were in school?
no, when I was in college,
Oh, okay.
yeah. So I wrote a paper on Hamlet, Shakespeare's Hamlet, and the teacher he believed it was the best paper in the entire college. So he nominated it for the Dean's Award,
Did you get it?
and so it got published in the journal. But like this is it right here, the Hamlet essay that I put. It didn't win first place, but you know, it's
Yeah.
like you write it, you make the mistakes, you go, oh, I'm missing this, I'm missing that, I'm missing this. You go back and fix it.
Uh-huh.
So is that helpful?
Yeah.
Okay. I have an appointment right now, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to I'll put this in the classroom and don't don't be shy to send me a reminder tonight if I haven't done it by like 8 o'clock. Just say, hey, Shaw, can you cut and paste that stuff? In fact, I'll do it now, just so that you can look at it. Um, I know I'm throwing a lot of this at you real fast, but if I had more time with you, I'd walk you through this a little bit better.
Cool.
Um, Let me put this in our 2 weeks folder, and I'll put your name on it, and I'll put Lord of the Flies. Lord of the Flies material. Um, Writing resource. Okay, I'm gonna put this for you. Um, you know, I'll put it for Haajar too in case we talk about it another time. We can all look back at this and document. Okay, that's it right there. Um, yeah, and it has even some stuff for other random prompts. So I haven't looked at all this. Some of this might be confusing um, as you look at it, but just let me know if you have any questions because I haven't had a chance to really look at it and to see if all of this makes sense, like the stuff that we didn't go over on the second page, right? So, let me see. Lord of the Flies. Well, like I said, if you do the RACE first, that gives you a pretty good paragraph, and then build around it. See what I'm saying? Then
Yeah.
build your introduction, then build your conclusion, and then read the whole thing over. Like even if he says, "Okay, clear your desk," you have 20 minutes, right? You
Yeah.
could still, as you learn to do this, you're going to get faster at it, more efficient.
Mm-hmm.
So let me see. Okay, it's there for you. Wait a minute. I didn't put it in the right folder. Okay, that's why it needs to go to 2 weeks of support. All right, sir. Hopefully that helps. Um, I will talk to you guys a little bit later. I'm going to have to message your sister to see if you guys are available tomorrow, because Friday I'm not available either. It's kind of weird. I'm performing downtown. I'm reading my poems from my book. So, um, then I have to pack for the trip on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.